Good morning. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist Church, which includes our church here in Birmingham, our church in Tuscaloosa, and all of our folks online. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Today's service has been focused on life, and there are things in our community that we need to talk about this morning. And so I just invite you into this space, into our affirmation of life and love and hope. And remember that we together can change the world. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. The prelude prepares us for worship.
Good morning. Please rise. Please rise and bow to your spirit for the lighting of the chalice. Excuse me. Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak and the songs we sing. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and despair. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy in our coming together.
Okay.
We'll sing our opening hymn, number 1023, Building Bridges, in your teal hymnal, number 1023.
I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, reach out to visions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all our visions, building bridges between our divisions. Bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all our divisions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Please be seated. Y'all ready for this? Yes, no, we don't want to do this. But this morning we are sending forth our beloved Corpus family. And so if you have been close to the Corpuses in their time here, I invite you to come up and be a part of this and put your hands on them as we do this. But why don't y'all tell us what's happening next and where you're headed?
So we're heading back to our home state, Virginia. So I recently separated from the military, and I got a job remotely in IT. So that gave us the freedom to move back home and be closer to family. I just want to say thank you to Reverend Julie and the UU and all the beautiful people that come here. This has been such a beacon of light in such a dark place. Yeah, we didn't want to come here to Birmingham, but we had to, and yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so we're moving back to be close to our families, so we're excited about that and back to old friends. But we are definitely sad to leave the community we found here. I've been inspired by seeing so many tireless advocates in this community, and it's just been such an inspiration to me. And I know when we first moved here, I'd never heard the term church home before, and then it became like an opening sentence, like with moms at playgrounds and people making small talk. They were just like, have you found your church home? And at first I was like I've never been a church-going person, so I was like, oh, no. But I can confidently say that we did find a church home here, and it was just so special for us.
We are going to miss you all and your tireless work in the oppression against our banned books. And so we thank you for all of the work that you have done and for sharing your light with us. We have learned in this community that it's important to say goodbye and not to just let people drift into the ether. And so I invite some people to come forward. If you'll help me out and put some hands on these folks. It's important to feel sadness, and it's important to say goodbye. So we say here that our community is made more whole by every person who is here. And it's also true that every person who leaves us leaves a hole, and we are never the same. We will not be the same without Jennifer and Chris and Ariana and Kai, and love does not disappear. There is an invisible fishing line that's going to connect us to you when you're in Virginia, and we will love and miss you always. Thank you for laying our hands on each other in that ancient tradition of commingling our energies and our heartbeats. So this morning I have some gifts for you, and I have a little bit of our water, communion water, to remember that you are always with us. And I'm just going to give you a little bit, and then I'm going to give you the rest to take with you. Can I put a little bit on your hand, Kai? There you are. Grab a little on you. Jennifer, we love you. Ariana, you are loved. What a beautiful family. So they're getting our some water, communion water with a drop of oil from my ordination. They're also you're getting a marble to remember that wherever you roll, you are with us. And you're getting some seed paper. And I got you a lot because you're going to Virginia that may actually grow flowers. To remember that you will bloom wherever you are planted, and we know that. And we also have a very special itty-bitty chalice kit for the kids, one for Kai and one for Ariana, so that you can light your chalice and remember your time here. We love you so much. So with that, congregation, I invite you to look in your order of service. It's on the right-hand side toward the bottom, and we're going to give our blessing to this family. If you'll say it with me. This day we send you forth, but we will not forget you. Today we release you into the universe's keeping, even as we hold you in gladness and in love. We will always joyfully welcome you back to this home of your souls. Amen. We love you all. In the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, please greet those around you, and please come give some love to the Corpus family. Folks online, greet each other in the chat.
you're not shoved up in there in the little piglets trying to do a DC thing.
No, yeah, we strategically did that because I grew up like up north, closer to DC, and I know how hectic it is now, because it was already hectic before. Now it's even worse.
I'd be afraid of spiritual contamination from that. All right.
Helen, 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 Helen. And now for the Justice Minute.
Yeah, I'm Helen Rivas from the Justice Committee, and civic engagement's an important part of our church, and I know members have been involved in a lot of things this election season. I'm not doing phone banking, but we have a chance to do phone banking with Faith in Action, and it's in your insert. It's on Monday the 30th. It helps. I mean, the election may be close in many places. And then second, our church for the past couple of years has been a polling place for the Glen Iris area, and they're very happy with us here because it's the first accessible one in a while. But we need some more volunteers to cover for between 8 and 9 in the morning and afternoon till 8 o'clock on Tuesday, October 1st. This is not heavy lifting. Bring a book, bring your tablet or whatever. You can use the Wi-Fi. We just need a church presence here. And Kim, our administrator, is out of town. So please, if you can, sign up for that. And finally, I've been telling everybody, check your registration. The last day to register is October 21st. Also, what I forgot is every 4 years at election time, I have to renew my driver's license, and I'd totally forgotten about that. So I have taken care of that, but check your ID to make sure it's not expired. And finally, Lisa Borden is going to be getting some postcards. As you know, UU The Vote is our Share the Plate this month. And with another organization, they're sending postcards, and there will be an opportunity to send some to Alabama and several other states, and we will let you know as soon as we get the postcards. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Tom Jacobs, member of the board. Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We are just glad you are here. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today we are sharing our plate with UU The Vote. UU The Vote is an initiative of the UU Association's Side with Love team, providing UUs with thoughtfully crafted voter engagement opportunities. Your UU Justice Committee has participated in phone banking and voter outreach through UU The Vote over the years. UU The Vote supports congregations and UU organizations in activating thousands of UUs to mobilize voters, counter voter suppression, and engage in spiritually grounded, values-based issues conversations with voters in their communities. This is a grassroots campaign that relies on grassroots support. We appreciate your donations either by placing them in the plate, by mailing your donation to the church, or by using PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. More information is found in the order of service in the lower right-hand corner. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and in hope.
daughters. I will rise against my foes. I will rise with all the mothers. I will carry all their woes. I will rise to fight for freedom. I will rise though faced with fears. I will rise against all hatred while my eyes are veiled in tears. I will rise for religious freedom, for a rich diversity. I will rise for all the weary, for each lonely refugee. I will work for all our women who deserve equal pay. I will work for all our children who await a better day. Sisters, oh, stand with me. Rise up hand in hand. Oh, stand with me. We will rise to spread love across this bitter land. I will rise for love and justice, that we may see a better day. I will rise in peace and service for our world in dismay. I will rise with all my brothers for all those who cannot stand. I will rise with all our fathers who have lost a home and land. I will rise to build up bridges for this broken world we see. I will tear down walls between us that divide you and me. Brothers, oh, stand with me. Rise up hand in hand. Oh, stand with me. We will rise to spread love across this bitter land. I will rise.
Now we rise. Now is that time when we celebrate our joys and our sorrows. Now is that time when we celebrate our joys and our sorrows within our community. For those of you online, please share yours in the chat and hold one another in love. For those of you in person, you are invited now to come and drop a stone for whatever is on your heart today. Please come forward. In addition to all of the stones that you have just dropped this morning, we would like to take a moment and remember what happened at 5 Points South last night. For those of you who don't know, and I'm trying to be succinct because there are still children in the room, 4 people lost their lives, with another 10 who are suffering from life-threatening injuries. So we are going to light a candle for each of those individuals at this time. May we hold all of those who are affected, all those who were there last night, and all of their families in our thoughts and prayers as we continue the work to bring justice to our community and to end violence around the world. We also lift up this morning Marion Fintel, who is recovering from knee surgery, and we celebrate the fact that Lauren Dressback's story is now officially out. And I'm honored to say that Lauren and Angela are with us here this morning. We love you both. Please join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation, followed by a moment of silence. Our meditation this morning was written by the Reverend Tess Baumberger. Let us make this earth a heaven, right here, right now. Who knows what existences death will bring? Let us create a heaven here on earth where love and justice reign. Let us welcome all at our pearly gates, our freedom table, amid singing and great rejoicing with all of our lovely colors, straight, gay, transgender, bisexual, and all the ways of loving each other's bodies. Young, old, fat, thin, variously abled, gentle, cranky, joyous, sorrowing. Let no one feel excluded. Let no one feel alone. May the rich let loose their wealth to rain upon the poor. May the poor share their riches with those too used to money. May we come to venerate the earth, our mother, and tend her with wisdom and compassion. May we make our earth an Eden, a paradise. May no one wish to leave her. May hate and warfare cease to clash in causes too old and tired to name. Religion, nationalism, the false god of gold, deep-rooted ethnic hatreds. May these all disperse and wane. May we see each other's true selves. May we all dwell together in peace and joy and understanding. Let us make a heaven here on earth before it is too late. Let us make this earth a heaven for each other's sake. Let us take a moment of silence together. Amen and blessed be.
Good morning. So a few weeks ago, I got up here and made a little plea to y'all about needing some teachers, and you would not believe the response that we got. So today I'd like to take an opportunity to thank those folks, but first I need to invite all the children and youth to come forward for a second. Come on up and take a seat, because I'm going to need your help. So I can start this out by telling you that today we are kicking off our RE classes with over 60 children and youth involved in our program. And that's a low number, I think. I feel like there's more than that just haven't quite registered yet. So I'm super excited about that. This is just a sprinkling of our kiddos. So let me share a little something with all my friends today. Y'all ready? Come on up, come on up. So Unitarian Universalism is a faith that has the power to save lives, to shape lives, to sweeten and soften the lives of kids and teenagers and grown-ups who are living in a world that is sometimes harsh and lonely, maybe even unjust and unkind. So what we strive for in our religious education classes is to be a constant, a comfort, a community for our kids, a place that holds them in love and gives them strength as they navigate those complicated lives. A time of rest, recreation, respite, and refueling. All about the repeated letters today, y'all. A scaffold that supports them as they grow into who they were meant to be. But to make that possible, we need you. It takes a very special group of people who step up and say yes to spending time with the future of this congregation. So 21 adult volunteers carry this sacred privilege and responsibility of journeying beside our children and youth. 21. I had 3 the other day. Woohoo! So now I'd like all of us to take a moment to bless these fabulous adults who are going to be serving in our classrooms alongside all these fabulous kiddos. So if you are one of the amazing team of volunteers who said yes when asked, will you please stand as you are willing and able where you are? I'm not going to drag you up here, I promise. I will call you by name, though. So I'm going to need you to stay standing for just a little bit longer. I'm sorry. So get comfortable. Children and parents and all of the adults in this congregation, we are going to shower these teachers with some of the intangible gifts that they will need to bring into this journey ahead. Parents, you know what it takes. So do me a favor, friends. What are some of the things you think these grown-ups need to make our classrooms awesome? What do you think, NJ? Water fountain. Cool, we got that. What do you think? Say again? Toys, we got those. What do you think, Emma? Cotton candy. Don't have any of that. What are you thinking? Love. Did you say love? I like that one, love. Definitely need that. Oh, wait, what are you thinking, Nathan? I actually have 3 things. What do you got? Christmas, Halloween, and video games. Okay, so grown-ups out there, we may need a little assistance. Can we think of some intangible things? Maybe not. What are you thinking, Scarlett? Patience. That's a good one. What do you think, Thomas? Being patient. So being patient so you can get something. Neva, what do you think? Joy. I love it. What do you think, Julie? Compassion. All of these are such amazing things. So let's all throw theoretically, not really, these to our volunteers. Just hand them over to them. Just send them all that good energy, all that joy, all that love, all that compassion, maybe some cotton candy. So there we go. We will need all that. Teachers, we offer you these blessings. In taking on this responsibility, you have committed yourselves to nurturing the spirits of the youngest members of our congregation. Do you promise to do your best to honor them, teach them, and nurture them to grow as Unitarian Universalists? If you do, say, I do. Good job. They follow directions, too. All right, congregation. That includes you guys down here. We know that this is not something that these amazing volunteers can do all by themselves. We are all teachers in our community in our own way. Do you promise these wonderful volunteers your support? If so, say, we do. We do. Awesome. Fantastic. Kiddos, this is where I need your assistance. So Amethyst has a lovely basket of goodies here. And I need us to deliver a bag of these goodies to each of these grown-ups that are standing up out here who are going to be in your classroom. So if someone, any of you, whoever would like to come and grab one and deliver it, now is your opportunity. So there's some over this way. You may have to wave your hands to get their attention. So just take it and deliver this to these grown-ups out here. Let's see, there's some grown-ups. Oh, back this way, there's some grown-ups. So these are, I promise you kiddos, there's nothing exciting in here for you. It's grown-up stuff. Miles, do you want to take one to give to someone? Oh, Amethyst, Miles would like to deliver one. Fantastic. Teachers, this is just a little thank you to you. Just a little. So you're getting ready to take on a big thing, so I hope you accept this token of our gratitude. And I also hope that you wear the fantastic button. Oh, wait, I see one more grown-up that doesn't have one. Back this way. Oh, no, she did. She got one. Excellent, excellent. Okay. So I hope you wear your button that is fantastically brightly colored that says, I am an RE teacher, so that all of these other grown-ups go, oh, my goodness, where can I get a fantastic button? And you'll say, I know how. So there you go. But I hope you wear it every Sunday with pride, because what you do is important. We are so grateful for you. May you be blessed, and may you be a blessing. Thank you very much. And now, can y'all sing us downstairs?
Last week, I spoke about how we learn and grow as we go through life. And sometimes that means changing what we believe, doesn't it? We at the UU Church support evolution of thought that moves into deeper authenticity, connection, and love. When I was younger, I thought the death penalty made sense. Because obviously, bad guys should be punished, right? And obviously, the system was just, and we wouldn't kill anyone that didn't deserve it, right? And then in 8th grade, a white Christian nationalist named Timothy McVeigh blew up a building in my hometown. And he killed hundreds of people. And I remember being in 8th grade, I remember hearing the sound of the bomb go off. And I remember the vigils at church praying for those people as they pulled them from the rubble. And I also remember all the adults around me saying, off with his head. They wanted him executed so quickly. And they got their wish. It was one of the fastest paths to death row and execution in history. And it was at that moment that I realized maybe there's a different way. You know, maybe we could have let him rot in prison and think about what he had done. Maybe there's another path. And then I started hearing the stories of the victims' families and how so many victims' families didn't even want him to be executed. They wanted him to have an opportunity to have remorse. And those victims' families are still out there in crimes all over our country who challenge us to go deeper as a society and find other ways of reconciliation and healing. And a couple years ago, I heard the story of Anthony Ray Hinton from his own lips. He was at Samford speaking, a man who suffered on death row for 34 years for a crime he didn't commit. What would have happened had someone not intervened? We've learned since about folks that have been determined innocent after execution. And I worry about the soul of our nation. Last night's mass shooting in 5 Points South is going to give us some things to reflect on. We have a lot of feelings this morning. We know as a church that thoughts and prayers are not enough. And eventually we're going to learn the name of the shooter. We're going to learn why they did this. And it's going to be our challenge as Unitarian Universalists to work past our fear and our terror and our anger over what this person has done and call for the state to give them a life sentence instead. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And Alabama's mass incarceration system sees people as free labor for the state. And many vehicles and products and state services are provided on the backs of those incarcerated people for free. And last year, after botching 2 executions, they turned to suffocating individuals. We are a people who celebrate life. We are a people who honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And we are a people who work to end systemic oppression. This week marks an important milestone in our country, one that should not be celebrated, but should be mourned. And it is with that I am honored to invite Abe Borowitz from Death Penalty Action to let us know what we can do next. Abe.
It's a tough morning. I got a text from my cousin who lives here in Birmingham. He and his wife were at 5 Points last night. Had left shortly before the shooting. And it brought home to me a little bit about how fragile life is and how when it's not somebody that we know, it's easy to just keep moving. But when it is somebody that we know, it can be devastating. To lose a loved one to violence that is totally out of the blue and unexpected, or to lose a loved one to violence that is predicted and set to a schedule. Especially on a day like today when we, as a community, are just grappling with what has just happened, and I understand that gun violence is not a unique thing here. It's a regular thing, not just here, but across this country. Apparently, there have been over 400 mass shootings this year in the United States. And the question we have to ask really is, what do victim families need in the aftermath of murder? And what does the community need? I mean, if you look at the statement of the mayor here of Birmingham, he talked about gun safety and removing this thing that makes guns shoot faster from being available. He also talked about what do we need to do with the people who are apprehended, should they be apprehended, who did this. And certainly they will catch somebody. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because sometimes it's convenient to catch somebody even if they're not exactly the right person. We're going to hear a little bit about that in a few minutes. But does the promise of an execution a couple of decades from now do anything to heal the balms of our, to heal our wounds, to make us feel better? This idea that sooner or later they're going to kill this guy and maybe, and then we can begin our healing process? You know, the opportunity for all of us is going to come sometime in the next few days or weeks or months as last night's shooting, or the next one, or the one that happened 2 weeks ago, comes up in conversation. And the problem is with our criminal legal system, I don't call it a justice system, I call it a legal system, because there is no justice. You know, the rabbis have understood an eye for an eye is not what the Bible really calls for, because no two eyes are alike. How can you repay when you don't have exactly what that is? What we know about what victim families need is love and caring and presence and community that doesn't disappear. This week, everybody's showing up with food and flowers. But what about in 2 months? Who's helping them pay the bills? Who is helping a person out of the fog that your mind is in when you can't get out of bed because you're still so devastated 6 months later? How are these people getting the counseling that they need? And if they've lost a family supporter, the money that they need to maintain their mortgage and all the other things? When our legislators get together and talk about what do we do in the aftermath of murder, it's not how do we better serve the victim families. It's how do I look tough on crime? And that's the change that we need to see. That's the question we all have to ask for ourselves. What do we do as a community? What do I do as a person? What do I ask my legislators to do in the aftermath of murder that changes the dynamic of our community? The mayor of Birmingham came out and he said, this is what has to happen when somebody is caught with one of these Glock switches or whatever they're called. 10 years if you have it, 25 years if you shoot somebody and they survive, and life without parole or worse. That's a quote, or more, whatever it was, something to suggest that maybe the death penalty will help as a deterrent. Well, I'm telling you, we are about to see yet another execution in this state, and they're with regularity now, this week. Most people are totally unaware that that's happening, and will be totally unaware that it has happened. Because these days, especially, most people do not consume news through the mass media. We just get what we get in whatever social media we look at, right? Alan Miller shot 3 people in a workplace shooting. He was severely mentally ill then. He was severely mentally ill 2 years ago when they failed to execute him. They jabbed him multiple times and ran out of time before they had to send him back to his cell. So he was on the gurney ready to be executed, and that's why this state has moved to gas suffocation executions. A whole other bit of horror. The space that we're in our country right now is more death. 4 states this year Idaho, Utah, just on Friday night, South Carolina, and if they get their way, on December 18th in Indiana. 4 states that haven't executed anybody in over a decade are trying to resume. In Idaho, in February, they had the same sort of thing. They started jabbing a guy and trying to get the IV going and failed, and he's still alive today. Living with that torture that goes beyond the mental abuse and torture that living on death row is on its own. In addition to that, the regulars are on a spree right now. Tuesday in Texas and Missouri, there's an execution scheduled, and then on Thursday in Oklahoma, Thursday morning, 10 a.m., a man who didn't kill anybody. He was present for the robbery, but in that state, and maybe this one too, they have what's called the law of parties. If you're part of a crime, but you didn't actually pull the trigger, you can get death. In Emmanuel Littlejohn's case, the witnesses saw that the taller, darker man was the shooter, and he was the lighter, the shorter, lighter man. But the prosecutor charged both of them and tried them separately, and in each case, he told the juror, this is the shooter. For each one of them, even though they knew that one of them wasn't. The actual shooter got a life sentence. Emmanuel got a death sentence, and he's scheduled to be killed. And then if it gets to if all 3 of those other executions happen, then Alan Miller, there's nothing going to stop Alan Miller's execution, I don't think. But if all those other 3 happen, it will become the 1600th execution in this country since 1977. And for what? Because we know we can be safe from people who have done awful crimes and hold them accountable without executions, and we know that because that's what we do in the vast majority of cases. Death by incarceration is much more common than death by execution. But the thing about it is, if a jury chooses that, if a judge doesn't override that, then at least if they realize that they've made a mistake, they can say, oh, we made a mistake, and let them out. That's happened too many times in this country, and today, I want to give you the opportunity to meet one of those people for whom a mistake was made, and thank God they realized that they made a mistake, and they were able to let him out. So I want to invite Gary Drinkard to come forward. He is an Alabama death row survivor, and I want to say also that this afternoon, at 3 o'clock, right here in this church, we are having a program called The Voices of Experience on the Death Penalty. And you'll hear from a murder victim family member and a death row family member who also is a murder victim family member and through his own work was able to keep his brother from being executed, and from Gary Drinkard. And as you find yourself talking about this issue, as we go through these next few days and it comes up, then people might challenge us and say, well, you'd feel different if it happened to you. And that's what I want to say is as I affirm that, I don't know what it is to lose a loved one to murder. I'm grateful to not have that story. But let me tell you about my friend, and then if you have heard one of these stories, you can talk about the people like Suzanne Bosler, whose story you will hear this afternoon if you're able to come. I wear a button like this, and more often a t-shirt, and I'm going to send a bag of these around because when I wear this, usually most people ignore it, but sometimes somebody says, more often than not, I like your button. Several people here today have given me a thumbs up, and I think you're one of those people, or somebody over here was. But in any case, when that happens, I take my button off and I give it to them. I put another one on because it's all about having the conversations and helping people understand the issues. So come later on and hear the rest of the story, but here's a little bit from Gary Drinkard. And I'm going to send that bag around, take as many as you'd like.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As Abe said, my name is Gary Drinkard. I'm an Alabama death row survivor. I was on Alabama's death row for 5 years for a crime I didn't commit. Thank you so much for having us today. Thank you. Only by the grace of God am I here today, with prayers and our Father watching over me. I was able to get a second trial and win my appeal. This happened in '93. There was a junkyard dealer that was killed, robbed and killed. Lived about 20 miles away from my house. All the facts that I'm going to tell you, I learned from the police, what they gathered. The crime scene, where it happened and mysteriously burned about 6 months after I was locked up. He sold parts, spare parts to anybody that would come along. He was an elderly man, very strong, very strong. They said he could lift a motor out of a truck, a 6-cylinder motor. That's pretty strong. I had a normal family, wife, 3 kids, been laid up on the couch for about a year. We had got a workman's comp settlement for where I'd been hurt in a construction job. We bought 14 acres of land and go to build a dream home. I had signed up for local community college so I could get a different vocation other than construction. The police came to my home and arrested me for a marijuana charge. My wife and I smoked marijuana. They tore our house up looking for whatever. But when they got through tearing our house up, dragging my children out of the bedroom, dragging my oldest daughter and a friend of hers out in front of all those police in their bra and panties, not letting them get dressed. They went straight to my shed where I had it hid and got it. Why would they tear my house up? They carried us to Decatur, city jail. They put my wife in one cell, put me in another. They didn't say anything about the marijuana. They continually asked me about a murder. Why had I robbed and killed a man? Tell them I didn't know nothing about it. Hadn't robbed and killed a man. Had money at home, left over from the settlement from workman's comp. Had monthly income coming in from 4 acres that I'd sold off on the land. I knew I'd have to have money when I was going to school. They kept telling my wife this is going to take her kids away from her if she didn't tell them I robbed and killed a man. They told her I was going to kill her because I didn't want any witnesses left. My wife and myself had a wonderful marriage. And a sister that I hadn't met until I was 16 years old was very jealous of that marriage. One night she had called me, told me that her boyfriend, who was a friend of mine, had needed my help. I went there, and she had another girl there that had told her she wanted to be with me. I got mad, cussed her out, and went home. They arrested me for capital murder, gave me a couple of lawyers that had never handled a capital case, sentenced me to die in the electric chair, carried me straight to death row. I wrote pen pals, begging for help, begging for prayers. I had a lot of people praying for me. I eventually won my appeal and were able to get some good lawyers, some decent lawyers that cared. And I'm here before you today to tell you there is an alternative to the death penalty. I promise you, if you put a person in there with life without parole, they will suffer every day with the violence and the lack of medical attention in the prisons. They're not going to live more than 30 or 40 years. In population, you got to watch your back every day. I thought that was the way with the worst of the worst. It wasn't. But if you're able to come this afternoon around 3 o'clock, myself and others will be glad to tell you our full stories. And we pray that you come. Thank you.
Thank you, Abe and Gary, for sharing your testimony and your witness to this horrible thing happening in our state this week. I encourage you to wear a button if you feel so inclined, and I realized as they were speaking that we also have a sign that we'll put out that honors our church's commitment to life in this process this week. So we will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow encouraging you to sign petitions for these various events. And again, you know, this is a free pulpit and you have freedom of the pew. So sign if you wish and don't sign if you don't. But I appreciate them coming to share their story this morning. In light of all that's going on, it gives us much to think about as we process the horrible tragedy that happened last night. So again, we affirm life. We affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and we want to be a better place. Let us make heaven on earth together. Amen.
Number 48, 148 in the hardcover hymnal. And if you would like to join our church today, feel so inclined, please come forward during the singing and sign our membership book. Number 148, Let Freedom Span Both East and West. Let freedom span both east and west, and love both south and north, in universal fellowship throughout the whole wide earth. In beauty, wonder, everywhere, let us communion find. Compassion be the golden cord, those binding humankind. Beyond all barriers of race, of color, caste, or creed, let us make friendship, human worth, our common faith and need. Then east and west will meet and share, and south shall build with north, one human commonwealth and world throughout the whole wide earth.
Please be seated, and I would ask for our board of last year and our board of this year to please join me up front. Come on down. All right. I would ask that the folks rotating off come up front. We're going to do you first. Yes, yes. begin. Okay. So I'd like for you all to introduce yourselves and to share, if you want, just briefly your service on the board, what you're most proud of.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Hilgeman Pitts, and I think the thing that I am most proud of is just saying yes when the volunteer board called. So I've had the opportunity to serve in RE and a couple of other positions, and so learning more about the board and being able to be a part of that is something I feel good about this past year.
I'm Kate Staub. I did 3 years on the board. My last term was as president. And I'm just really proud of what the board last year was able to accomplish. Last year and then the year before, the combination of that effort produced our new right relations policy, our building key and access policy. We got a new playground fence. We really did a lot of stuff last year, spent our security grant money. It was a lot of work, but it was really rewarding. So.
And some health insurance stuff for our staff, which was exciting. So.
I'm Ken Richardson, and I guess I'm most proud about showing up and getting to help out. Is this closer now? Oh, yeah. I'm most proud about getting asked to be on the board and serving and just showing up.
Thank you to each of you. Diane Tucker is also rotating off the board, and we are appreciative for all of your service, all of the amazing things you did, and just want to encourage you to plug back into the congregation in different ways that bring you joy and fill up your cup. And in that, I will give both of you a cup. And for our rotating off-board president, there is some special things for you in there. So help me appreciate our folks rotating off the board. Look for the
Thank you for the opportunity.
You can. Y'all might be seated. All right, now I would like to introduce this year's board so that you know who to come to for all of your building and liability and safety questions and budget questions. These are your folks, so I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
My name is Xander Lee. I'm an at-large member.
Kylie Kerr. I'm also an at-large member.
I'm Phil Vanderkamp. I'm the vice president.
Hi, good morning. Stephen Mangina, board secretary, second year.
That's right, very important. Julie Nicholson Morgan. This is my third year on the board, and I'm the president this year.
Mary Ann Plant, at-large member.
Amber Jackson, RE board rep.
Tom Jacobs, board treasurer.
Brenda Lively, I'm the member at large.
Give them another hand. Yesterday, this board met downstairs, spent their Saturday working for you and thinking about you and the future of this church. They have some amazing plans that will be rolled out shortly, but I'm just really excited about their work. This work of the church is the work for the people, and it's the work of building the world that we dream through our various enterprises. And service is an act of faith. Service done faithfully in love is the work of justice and community building, and all of which these leaders fully understand. So to do this, they need your trust and your support. And so I'm going to ask members of the congregation, will you offer love and trust to your board, responding when they seek your input, showing up when they tell you the work needs to be shared, and listening carefully when they speak of the life of the church? If so, your answer is, we will. Thank you. And this board truly understands shared ministry, I can tell you that. To the members of the board, will you be diligent and faithful in your work, bringing your best selves, practicing self-care and open-heartedness, tending with love and the details of the work, and always keeping the goal of beloved community in front of you as you serve? If so, please respond with "we will." May the spirit of love guide you in the coming year, and may a spirit of joy infuse the work that you do, and may your service bless the world and our community. Amen. Give him another hand.
Announcements. Please check out your order of service and your connection card for upcoming events. If you are interested in our lay ministry program called The Beacons, please join us after church at 1 p.m. in the Volker Room. Our focus of our efforts right now is getting out the vote. We need phone bankers on September 30th. You can sign up for a 1 to 3 shift or a 6 to 8 shift and can do it from your phone. Nonpartisan, just ensuring folks have access to voting and removing barriers to voting. We are desperately in need of election volunteers for the special election in Birmingham on October 1st. This is required for us to be a polling place. You don't have to do anything other than be a warm body here, but we need a member here during that time. October 4th, we will be hosting a viewing of one of our church documentaries, Bending the Arc, The Vote, with panelists and music from civil rights legends. Registration is required. Circle mixers start back up in October. Claim your spot now to spend time with folks in this community. If you sign up, you'll attend 4 dinners between October and February and get to know more people in our community. Please fill out your connection card and check any interests that you may have. The staff reads these connection cards every week. Any others who have an announcement, a special announcement, please come forward at this time. Oh, great, I got you. Do you need this?
Hi, everyone. Me and Peter have a joint announcement, an idea that we both had. Did you know that in America, you are 1 paycheck away from being homeless? It's a horrible statistic. And with Grants Pass v. Idaho going through the Supreme Court, I finally had it. I had enough. So I've come up with a little data collection project. Outside in the foyer are my business cards, and on the back of them are QR codes. Those QR codes take you to a Google form that can be used to report an overdose, naloxone usage. The second section gives an individual the ability to request a specific item or services from me. And then there's the most important, and I hope I say this right, it gives a person who is unhoused or anybody the ability to tell their story. And not only that, but specifically authoritative disruption, encampment sweeps, things of that nature. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, there were 5 instances of people having their beloved's ashes thrown away by officers. So I encourage you to get some cards. Everything is HIPAA compliant. My lawyer is working on that right now. And here's Peter with an announcement.
Hey, how's everyone? I'm actually going to play off of what Red said about, homelessness. So, did you know statistically, trauma is trauma is the #1 cause of addiction. Not in Alabama, though. It's homelessness. Both me and my roommate have experienced being in recovery. We're in recovery now. And I floated the idea to him, and I'm going to talk to someone about it, about starting a kind of a recovery group at UU. It's going to be like social and activity focused that supports, recovery and sobriety. I'm still working out the bugs of it, but I'm going to call it SOAR, which stands for Safe, Open, Active Recovery. So I'm in the works of trying to get that started. Also, a little note, actually, I did go in the care closet today to pick up a few things. I encourage all of you, there is life-saving Narcan in there. Please take it. Even if you don't know anybody that uses, you never know where you're going to be in a situation where you can save somebody's life. So I encourage everyone, when you leave today, go in that care closet, take some Narcan with you. You never know when you're going to need it.
One more thing. The ultimate goal of the project is I want to collect enough data to go to the Birmingham Human Rights Commission and not only have housing status, but diagnosis and current substance use disorder put in the anti-discrimination ordinance of Birmingham. That way, there can be no denial of services because a person is unhoused, or authoritative disruption because of that, or substance use disorder as a whole. And that is my goal. It's going to take a while, maybe 4 to 5 months, but hopefully I will be able to collect enough data to convince them to do so. I want to thank y'all both for listening.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that the LGBTQIA+ Alliance Committee is meeting next Friday, September 27th, at 6 o'clock in the library. We'll start off there. We're going to be going over what our mission is going to be, what we want to achieve as a group, and what we want to contribute as a group. So I encourage everyone who is interested, who has been on the committee, to please come so you can have your voice heard on what you want it to look like. Thank you. Again, that's Friday at 6 o'clock in the library.
Looks like you guys have got quite a few announcements today. So you saw me up here last Sunday, and just for any new faces, I'm going to remind them that we do have our Halloween festival coming up. And yes, I'm going to push again for all of our groups that are out there that haven't signed up. This is a great opportunity. Our board is out there. Please put in that you want to host a booth. That way you can introduce your group that we have here to this community that likes to come for our Halloween. So it's a great way to advertise your group. If you haven't thought of any ideas, think about what your group stands for and try to put that nice spin on the Halloween theme for you. And we did have some really great ideas coming from some of the groups that did get inspired from last Sunday. So I do appreciate you guys for signing up. And any groups that are here that do meet here at the church, this is a wonderful opportunity to spread and announce yourself to the lovely community that meets and comes here and enjoys our Halloween festival. We also need candy. We would love candy donations. There is a spot on that signage board for you to sign up and donate candy. Please bring the candy because the kids do love eating the candy. And so do you adults. I'm just saying. We also would love for any kind of volunteers that if you can't do a booth, we would love to have you. There's plenty of places on the board that you can sign up. So if you can't do a booth, but you would love to participate, we would love to have you because there's plenty other spots. I promise I can find a place for you. Just come and ask me if you're not sure where you could help or participate. I'll be more than happy to point you in a direction. And also, we could use some face painting supplies. We have 2, if not 3, volunteers that have decided to help us out and do some face painting for our children, and probably some adults, because we know how fun you guys are. So anybody who is wanting to donate something that is not a baked good or not a candy, we understand some hesitation there. I get it. I mean, if you want to save us some cavities, fine. Donate those supplies and we would love you forever. So the 19th of October is when the festival is. Again, the details are out there on that board. Feel free to check it out when you leave today. Thank you, guys.
It was one of the strangest events in human history, and it happened in this church 31 years ago today. Just like today, it was the autumnal equinox, and just as the sun crossed the equator from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere, an atheist married a goddess.
That was great. In honor of the legacy of our ancestors, let us carry the flame forward as we extinguish the chalice with these closing words. What is done cannot be undone. What is done next must now be done with care. We gather because we are hopeful, because we have visions and dreams of a brighter future. May the strength of this time together help us to walk forward. May the wisdom of this experience help us to know our path. May we have the courage to return as often as necessary until our way is clear. May we have the perseverance together to see it through. May we cause it to be so.